This is Cody, and you're tuned into B-Boy 45, broadcasting from the Seacrest Studios here at Children's Hospital, Colorado. And we have a very special treat. It is another edition of the latest news to keep you in the groove with Maya. Maya, who is on the line with us today?
Jonah Platt.
Jonah Platt, welcome. We're so excited to have you. Thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, Maya, take it away, girl.
Okay, so my first question for you is, when was the moment you first knew you wanted to get into the entertainment industry?
Well, to be honest, Maya, there was never really a moment for me. It has always been my passion, performing arts, that is. I started doing musical theater after school when I was 8 years old. It's what I was raised on by my parents. We were always watching and listening to musicals. I started playing piano and guitar at a very young age. And my dad works in the entertainment industry. So it's just always been around me. So there was never really not a moment where I felt like that's what I was going to be doing with my life.
Oh, cool. So you're an actor, director, producer, and also a musician, a lyricist, and composer, and a writer. Is there one aspect of all of these things that you do that you find the most fulfilling?
That's a great question. I would say it's kind of a tie maybe between acting and directing. Acting and just performing in general, whether it be, singing or acting. I really love, I think as I get older, I think I'm enjoying acting even more and more. Just the authenticity of it. I really love trying to be as truthful as possible. That really, gets me going. And then directing, I really love, because I really love bringing other people together and helping to bring their talents through and to help other people perform at the best of their ability gives me a lot of fulfillment.
Oh, cool. So you wrote and sang one of my favorite songs, Unexpected, which is from A Million Little Things, which is one of my favorite. How did the opportunity to write a song for the show come about, and what was the inspiration for the song?
So I actually did not write that song. My friend Gabriel Mann, writes all the music for that TV show, as well as many other shows and films. And he loves writing for that show because in addition to regular scoring that like any TV show has, instrumental orchestral scoring, that show in particular gave him or continues to give him a lot of opportunities to write actual songs. And this song was actually, part of the story of the episode. There was a character who in the show wrote this song. And as a fan of the show, perhaps you know that. And then they sold the song and heard another artist playing his song that he wrote. And my recording of that song is that other artist playing that character's song. And the opportunity came about because Gabe and I are friends. We like 15 years apart, were members of the same a cappella group at the University of Pennsylvania called Off the Beat, which is an awesome a cappella group if you've never checked us out. And we've become friends over the last 15 years since I've been out of college, just as alumni, both living in LA, both working in entertainment, both being involved with Off the Beat still. And he and I just get along famously. And we've had the opportunity mostly generated by Gabe to work on a number of things together. I've done like voiceovers for commercials with him. I recorded this for him. I'm going to be on a new Netflix show called Uncoupled that he happens to be scoring. And so he had unexpected, and usually he'll do a lot of the stuff. But for this specific story point, it needed to be a certain kind of pop sound. And he thought that I'd be the perfect sound. And so he brought me in to sing it with him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually interviewed Gabriel Mann a couple of years ago.
Amazing. So you know all about him.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it was so cool to talk with him.
Yeah, he's really somebody I admire a lot.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So you've done a lot of Broadway shows. What is the best part of being on Broadway and being a part of a musical?
Well, I'd say those are two different questions, so I'll answer them both. So the best part about being on Broadway, and to clarify, I've only actually been on Broadway once. I've done a lot of different shows in a lot of different places, but the only time I actually got to be on Broadway was when I was in Wicked in 2015, 2016. And the best part about being on Broadway, I guess that I would say there's two things that jump right into my head. One is just within the field, within the career, once you've hit the level of Broadway, you've sort of, it opens a different door for you in your career that you can say, okay, I'm a Broadway performer. It's just a different level of legitimacy that brings with it more opportunity because people take you more seriously right off the bat. And then second, you're able to have a wider, greater impact on audiences. I mean, there's no greater stage than Broadway, and especially Wicked, which is such a beloved show and also is literally, I believe now, the second biggest theater on Broadway. I think it was the biggest, now the second biggest. So you're playing to literally, one of the biggest houses you can be playing to. So the fact that I got to be such a special part of something that speaks to so many fans and has such a devoted fan base, that was really special. And I loved that relationship. And then the second part of your question, what is the best part of being in a musical? For me, my favorite part of being in a musical is the camaraderie of the cast. I really love it. To me, it feels like going to like summer camp. It's like you get really intense and close with people, and you can just build such amazing bonds that are really rewarding and enriching. And then you all get to go out every night and like do your favorite thing to do together. So it's just a blast.
Oh, cool. Do you have a favorite Broadway show?
I get asked this question, as you might imagine, a lot. The answer is no. I don't really have one favorite. I have many favorites that I've had like throughout my life. There have been different times I've been more into one than the other. And there are some that I like to perform in, or some that I like to listen to, some that I like to sit and watch. I would say like one that I really always enjoy sitting and watching, like every time I see it, no matter what, is Fiddler on the Roof. Very old school, but it's kind of a perfect show. And no matter who's putting it on, a high school, Broadway, whatever language it's in, no matter who's acting in it, the show is so airtight that it's always satisfying. And actually, another one really is Wicked. I was in Wicked 350 times, and on top of that, I've probably seen it 20 other times. And I honestly have never gotten sick of it. And as I work on shows and things of my own, we're constantly referencing Wicked because it's so well structured and executed. It's just, there's a reason it's one of the classic shows of all of, the 20th century now, or I guess 21st rather. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So of all the roles that you've played to date, both on Broadway and guest starring on TV shows. Is there one that's had the most significance to you?
That's a lovely question. I would say it's probably a tie. There's like two that jump into my mind. Maybe we'll say three. I've spoken a lot about it, so I won't dive into it, but obviously getting to play Fiyero on Wicked was extremely meaningful to me and really took my career to a new level. And like I said, got me to be able to connect with all these fans in such a wonderful way. Getting to play Wolf in Hair at the Hollywood Bowl was really special. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I had auditioned to be in the ensemble and ended up walking away with the principal role. It was where I met my wife. And then just being in Hair is all about the community of that tribe, which, as I mentioned, is like what I thrive on the most, is that level of community. And then the last one would be the show that I was just in, that I just finished, called A Walk on the Moon. I play the role of Marty. It's a new musical. It's trying to make its way towards Broadway. And that is a role where I get to play a young Jewish husband and father, which is what I am in real life. And there's some really meaty acting stuff in there. And it's been a very special experience from start to finish of that show. It's a role I love and a company of people that I love, and very, very meaningful to me to tell that story and to be a part of that show.
So do you have a specific process when you're writing or composing a song?
Sure. Yes, of course. I tend to be, just because of the way my brain works, a lyric first person. And then there's also, it's a different answer if I'm working on a song with I have a composing partner who I'm writing a musical with. So we have a different process than if I'm writing music and lyrics to something myself. When I've written music and lyrics to something myself, which isn't all that often, I've only written a handful of songs, but it kind of all comes out together. Like it's interesting. I'll have the idea for the lyric, and like the melody will kind of just be there, and I'll build it out around that and sort of flesh it out from there. When it comes to writing a musical song with my partner, what we'll do is we'll spend a lot of time thinking and discussing and trying to find the exact specific angle that this song should take. And then I'll go off with my computer and I'll start by just writing down like a prose version of the song, like whatever lines or fragments or ideas or things I want to capture or anything that comes into my mind, it just goes on the paper. Maybe I have a lyric, maybe I don't. Maybe I just have the thoughts and the ideas. And I'll start sculpting it from there and just sort of go little by little and try to really think how the character would think and speak and what they're feeling at that exact moment. And like, if it was me in that exact moment, what would I want to say?
Oh, cool. Yeah. I love writing songs, but I can never put them to music. So
it's tough.
Yeah.
I'm definitely better at lyrics than the whole shebang.
Yeah, I have a music therapist that all the songs I write are either like, they're usually put to songs that already exist, like melodies.
Sure.
But there is one that we came up with our own melody for, so it took like longer to get it finished.
Well, that's good for you. Good you stuck with it. Writing every song is always a very difficult task. So even writing one is a great accomplishment.
Thank you. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about any of your upcoming projects?
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you, since I've already mentioned it a few times, I'll tell you about this musical I'm writing with my partner. We're writing a musical adaptation of a book called The Giver, which maybe you're familiar with, maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So like a lot of people have read that book, or maybe they saw the movie. Oh, not so many people saw the movie. But so we're working on that. We've been working on it for many years. We've taken the last 2 years off, basically. But now we have a director, and we're getting together this summer to do another draft to get back into work on it. And then another thing I mentioned, I'm going to be appearing in this Netflix series called Uncoupled, starring Neil Patrick Harris, that comes out in July, and I'm in 2 of those 8 episodes.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So, what would a Broadway show about your life be called, and who would you cast?
Well, I would definitely cast myself because I need a job and I'd love to be on Broadway again. And it would be called Mensch of the Month. A mensch is a Yiddish word for like a do-gooder, somebody who's like a good boy. And also in elementary school, they used to give it out as like an award, Mensch of the Month. And there's a little bit of irony because yes, I'm a good guy, but I used to also like, as a kid, I was always getting in trouble all the time because I was too active and would get bored. So there's some built-in conflict there. So maybe that's a fun title for it.
Oh, I like that title.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, what is your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve. I don't know if it's my biggest, but a big pet peeve I would say is hypocrisy. Does that count?
Yeah.
It bothers me when people complain about something and then do the same thing, or say one thing and do another. Those things bother me.
Yeah. I have to agree with that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. So what personality trait has gotten you in the most trouble?
I guess the personality trait that's gotten me in the most trouble would be that, and I'm 35 now, so I've learned enough about this that hopefully I've sort of conquered it. But often I'll have to, or have in my life, I've had to make a mistake. It's hard to blame me, but like I've had to push a boundary and cross it and make the mistake before I realize that's not a boundary I should be crossing. If that makes sense. I think some people have an easier time being like, whoa, there's the boundary. And even though I've never experienced crossing it, I know I don't want to go there. And for me, I've always sort of like pushed it as far as I could. And sometimes I'll push it too far, cross the boundary. The mistake will be made and I'll go, oh man, I should not have done that. But I will say for the most part, I don't make the same mistake twice, which I think is a solid outcome.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, one of there's this quote I saw a while ago or something saying like that I don't make the same mistake twice. I make it 3 or 4 times just to be sure. And I was like, I think that's pretty accurate.
Interesting. Yeah, I try not to do that. Once I've learned my lesson, I learn it pretty well.
Yeah. So is there a motto or quotation that you live by?
There's a lot, actually. I have such a bad memory for quotes. I actually have a book upstairs. I wish I had it in front of me, where anytime I come across a quote I really like, I write it into this book I have. So I'm trying to think if are any going to jump out at me off the top of my head. There aren't, because like I said, I have such a bad memory for quotes. But I guess the most essential one that I try to live by the most is do unto others as you would want done unto you.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I think I might steal that idea of using a book to write down.
Yeah, please do. And then, one day maybe then once my book is full, I'll start to try to memorize them.
Yeah. And then I'd of course credit you that you gave me the idea to do that. So
fabulous.
So my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero and why?
Who do I consider to be a real life superhero? Well, I mean, I'll say my mom. My mom is a very singular human being, so that certainly puts her into superhero category in that she's able to do things that I don't know anyone else can fully do, where she has raised a family of 5 children, and given them her full devotion. She loves with her whole heart. And she has built around her a community of family and friends who everyone feels genuinely like they are the most important person in her life, because that's how she makes you feel, because she cares so much. And that's on the personal side. And then in her, what I'll call professional side, she's devoted her life to Jewish causes and the Jewish community. And she's actually now about to become the head of one of the largest Jewish organizations in the world, Jewish Federations of North America. She's just starting this week. So she has turned her energy and love for the people within her inner circle. She's also spread it outward across the globe in ways that have affected, tens of thousands of people of all stripes, all over the place. So her selflessness and her love and caring are superhuman to me.
Yeah, that's amazing. I can't even find the words. I just think that's incredible what she's doing. And
me too. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I really loved talking to you, and I've been so excited for this. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure, Maya. Thank you so much. It's been so nice talking to you too.